Sponsored by rxcardclub.com. Get a free prescription drug card and save up to 85% on prescription drugs. rxcardclub.com. Should the Solheim Cup have a tiebreaker? It's probably time for a refresh. Gainesville, Virginia. Can there be a winner if there isn't a loser? Nobody won the 2023 Solheim Cup. The competition ended in a 14-14 tie. But the Europeans celebrated Carlota Ciganda beating Nelly Korda on the 17th hole at Finca Cortesin after she secured the final point to allow Europe to retain the cup. At the biennial competition, you can only win the cup from the defending team if you win outright, with 14.5 points. The same format applies to the Ryder Cup, which has resulted in only 2 ties, in 1969 and 1989, since its inaugural event in 1927. Last year's Solheim Cup tie was the first in its 34-year history. At the beginning of the week, we need 14, and they need 14.5, said European assistant captain and 20-time LPGA winner Laura Davies, standing on the second tee box during Thursday's practice session. That's just the way it is. But is the way it is reason enough for a hugely popular and entertaining sporting event to end so inconclusively? Did Europe and the US simply tie last year? Did Europe effectively win by retaining, even if it didn't have more points than the Americans that week in Spain? How do we, as viewers, even process a result that means so many different things to different people? We didn't lose, it was a tie, Stacy Lewis said, moments after the event ended last year. Lewis captained the US team in 2023 and will lead the American squad again this week at Robert Trent Jones Golf Club. She has crafted a very intentional team slogan, "Unfinished Business." The scene of the Europeans spraying champagne in front of the Finca Cortesin clubhouse still lingers. "The unfinished business just kind of came to me naturally," Lewis said. "I just felt like the way things ended in Spain, like it just, like, that was it? Like, that's it? That's the way this thing is going to end?" That's not quite how Europe sees it. If the Europeans win 14 points this weekend, they retain the trophy for a record-setting 4 consecutive Solheim Cups. "It's not unfinished business," Davies continued. "They needed 14.5, and they got 14. The business was finished. Tradition is tradition. Tradition aside, what's the point of a major sporting event that doesn't end in a clear win or loss? Is it time for the Solheim Cup and, by extension, the Ryder Cup to abandon the retain the cup model and establish a tiebreaker?" At the Women's Open last month, Lewis considered the possibility, saying she'd be open to it, especially if the Ryder Cup did the same. She proposed a 2 versus 2 alternate shot playoff on the last 3 to 4 holes to decide the cup. Send 2 players out. You start out there on 14 or 15 where they have all the grandstands, and let them play it all over, Lewis said in Scotland. This week, Lewis said she is leaning more toward keeping things the way they are but wouldn't be opposed to a change. The Europeans understandably differ. It'll never happen in the Ryder Cup.